Gold has become king amid a buying frenzy in recent years in China. Many Chinese are buying new gold or taking bars out of their safes to fashion jewelry. But amid the gold rush, there has been a rise in scams involving the precious metal.
你之前可不是这么说的，怎么检测一下就变卦了呢？
那说的是纯黄金的价格，这检测结果你也看到了，对不对？这明显是有杂质啊！
哎，不能买，阿姨，他就是个骗子。
This bite-sized soap opera was produced by a gold company in China. The princess and her Prince Charming rescues the helpless lady and takes her to this gold company.
今日的金价综合评估可以给到您12050，这个价格您看可以吗？
真的吗？
And in the process, they find love.
我有件事想跟你说，我喜欢你。
The company has also promised handsome returns to customers who buy its gold. But there's a catch. The company allegedly defrauded thousands of investors. One family reportedly lost over 10 million yuan in the alleged scam. In China, fraud involving gold generally comes in two forms. Some scammers use a Ponzi scheme to lure victims with high returns. Others cheat unknowing customers with relatively inexpensive metals such as tungsten and rhenium. But even warnings about the fraud risks have not deterred consumers from pouring money into gold. You can buy the metal from jewelry shops and live streams. Gold is so popular in China these days that even shopping malls have gold vending machines that allow users to buy and sell gold. A gold bar would cost me more than 1,600 yuan, so let's start with a small gold nugget. That's less than 800 yuan. It's really easy to buy gold in China these days with a few clicks on my phone and the scan of a QR code. I have a 1 gram gold nugget. My experience reflects how popular gold is among ordinary people in China these days. So what's behind China's gold frenzy? For ordinary folks, the most obvious reason gold has been outperforming most assets in China by a large margin is because of the depressed property market. Real estate had long been a popular investment choice among many Chinese. Around 70 to 80% of the country's household assets are tied up in bricks and mortar. But the real estate market has yet to stage a recovery since China's property bubble burst after the collapse of developers like Evergrande in 2021. Since then, housing prices have declined by 21%. At the same time, the price of gold has increased by 71%. On the stock market front, the Shanghai Composite Index gained over 12% in 2024 still pales in comparison to gold's 28% gain. Another consequence of a slumping real estate market and mediocre stock performance is lower interest rates, a bid by Beijing to inject liquidity into the market. The People's Bank of China lowered its one-year prime rate from 4.15% in 2020 to 3% in 2025. In the real world, a 5-year fixed-term deposit in one of China's major banks came with a 2.65% interest rate in 2022. Today, the rate is a mere 1.3%. That means if I deposit 10,000 yuan into my bank account today, I would only get about 670 yuan in interest after 5 years. On the other hand, gold's long history as a safe haven in times of instability has contributed to its popularity.
就是整个国际形势都存在一个不确定性，无论是西方世界，无论美国也好，欧洲也好，还是俄乌，我觉得世界的整个状态就存在不确定性。我觉得基本上大环境不确定的那个当下，我觉得如果从避险的角度的话，我觉得黄金肯定是一个相对比较好的选择。大概有个10几年的周期吧，我自己包括钻石，包括宝石，我也有一个阶段会比较喜欢。但是你看，你拉长了， 拉长了这个时间周期之后，你会发现，最终真的还是黄金它，我从保值角度啊，无论从二手回收，还是最终它的价值，还是黄金。
But individual investors are not the only ones hoarding gold. Central banks around the world have doubled the amount of gold they have been buying. They're doing so for similar reasons as individual investors. Gold's track record in times of crisis, portfolio diversification, and inflation hedging, according to a recent survey by the World Gold Council. Since 2022, central banks have bought over 1,000 tons of gold annually. That's compared to just 400 to 500 tons per year in the previous decade. In the case of the People's Bank of China, gold reserves ran from slightly over 2,000 tons in 2022 to nearly 2,300 tons in June 2025. It now accounts for 6% of China's total foreign reserves. The rise in PBOC's stake in gold contrasts with its shrinking US dollar reserves. Since 2017, China has been steadily retreating from US Treasury bond holdings, which have long been considered a safe asset. What is the reason behind the shift?
Over the past few years, some factors are eroding this kind of perception. The first one is we've seen growing concern over the debt sustainability of the US government. I think right now the government debt held by the public is reaching around 100% of its GDP. And we've also seen major rating agencies downgrade the credit ratings of US government from the gold standard AAA. And the other one is geopolitics, especially after the US and its allies froze Russia's foreign reserves in 2022. So this episode really underscored the risk that US dollar assets could be politicized in times of conflict. For gold, it has no counterparty risk. So it's a physical asset and it can be frozen. Also, it's recognized globally. So that makes it particularly appealing at a time when geopolitical tensions are rising and the safety of US dollar is being questioned. The trend is expected to continue because those underlying concerns behind US dollar assets, they're not going away.
At a time when regional stability and geopolitical situations remain shaky, gold's age-old reputation as an asset that holds up even through war and disasters is likely to continue to drive demand.